happy weekend, my dear twin flames out there, and welcome back. Last time, let me start by saying that last time I was abruptly cut off, and I wanted to read something from the Quran, but I posted it under the reason I don't know. I had enough memory on my laptop, but I believe it was meant to be as everything else because I told you that number 27 was all around me that week, the previous week, and the week before that. So number 27 was showing up for me everywhere. And then I noticed when the video was cut off, it was on the 27th minute. So I just let it be like that. I just let it stay that way. And I apologize if you were expecting to hear more. 27 minutes is long time anyway, so I'm gonna cut short today. Probably what I've been going through, most of you who are in Ascension have been going through this because the energies are just that way this past week. Um, for me, it was terrible on the outside, looking from the 3D perspective, terrible week because my my wallet was stolen, and then my credit cards were used by the thieves, and my driver's license was in there, so I was a victim of identity theft, and I although in 3D it was a stressful thing, and I had to go to file a police report and get all my new documents and block everything to the bank, freeze my account. Also, at the same time, I've received some messages through the whole thing that happened, and also I've seen some miracles happen, some beautiful things. So, first of all, just day before I had my wallet stolen, just day before, the woman that I appreciate, one of the women that I appreciate most in this entire world, a woman called Bread Lady. She lives in my state. Once, a couple of years ago, there was a documentary made about her. I was featured in that documentary because I was interviewed to tell more about her. She's a charity person who does charity for this state by herself. It was her own idea to convert her own front of her house, her porch, into a donation center where anybody can stop by and get anything they want at any time of night or day without needing to show any ID or anything. They can just walk in there on that porch and get whatever they like. And what she does is she will be called from the local grocery stores and bakeries and places that they make new stuff every single day, so they have to put it that way. Usually they would just throw perfectly nice cakes and bread and everything away, which was terrible waste, and then she will be called by these places, and then she will go with her car. And now the over the years, she's been doing this for 20 years, the government gave her local government, city government gave her donated a van to her so she can put more things in there, and then she brings goodies and good stuff because nowadays with the organic stores and organic food stores being around and health food stores, some things are still very expensive, and some great produce things and excellent salads and sandwiches that are organic or veggie things are actually still pretty expensive. Things are getting better, but some things are still expensive. So usually those things it's harder to sell them still than still hard to sell organic food than junk food. So she sometimes brings amazingly nice goodies and things to that place, and we've been friends for years, and I have actually extended her charity work to my own property, and we have added a place where people can pick up from our house, which we bring from her, and then just kind of, because we live on a different street, so some people don't know about her place. And although in this state, in this city, more and more people are finding out, she's been feeding probably hundreds of thousands and thousands of people over the years. which is fed and clothed from that place. So a friend of mine, that lady called the bread lady, she invited me to a birthday party last week. It was the day before the incident with my wallet, and she introduced me to a new health product, and I cannot mention it still right now because I still haven't signed up. And I, even if I do, I'm not sure that I want to mix that in with my twin flame videos. Maybe, I don't know. I cannot. I don't think I will, but anyways. So I cannot mention the name of the product anyways right now. And but I was introduced to the product at her house after her daughter's birthday party, and myself being someone who have studied herbalism and health food and medicinal properties of herbs and herbal supplements. I've done that for many years of research. When I saw the product, it was enough for me to read the ingredients listed. It was amazing. As I told them at the presentation, her friends who were doing the presentation, what you have in this little bottle, I actually have in 56 different jars in my like herbal medicine cabinet in my kitchen, one of the kitchens in my house. So it's like 56 different things that someone has put into a single serving, into a single bottle of um, um, energetic energy drink, energy supplement. It's an amazing thing. But I will not mention any names right now. So I was not skeptical about product itself. I liked it immediately, and then I tried. I got some samples and I tried it, and my parents have tried it, and it does work. But at that moment, I was facing some financial, you know, not exactly flow of cash at this point. So I was skeptical. Should I sign up or not at this point, or should I wait? And so here's skip this whole thing just to say that the money that was stolen from my credit cards and from my debit cards, the bank is investigating now and they're trying to give me my money back. It will take some time. Hopefully I will get it back. But the amount is exact. The amount that of the money that I lost is exactly the same amount that I was supposed to invest into the product, to buy the product and become one of the representatives. So, because I trust this woman so much, I would never go into some of these sale, pyramid things that around for decades, different things. I'm not into that. Just I'm not. I'm not gonna be judging anyone, or people do things. Sometimes they're successful, sometimes they fail. But I would not try anything like that. I'll just go for a regular job that is paid, or have my own small business, and I did in the past. But I don't go for those things. But because it was coming from that woman, I know I never got anything bad coming from her, and she really believes in product too. And as I said, products got me right away from the start, but I was not sure if I'm ready to invest, and I lost that exact amount of money from my cards from the thieves. So that's a that was a message, because I also had angel messages that week and signs that something, some prosperity and some opportunity for business will come, which is also helpful to other people, which would be beneficial to many, will come my way. And then I saw that, and I knew that must have been it, but I was still skeptical. Should I invest right now? Should I wait? And then next day, I lost that same amount of money. For now, maybe I will get it back. Next thing, what happened is, the moment I found out, I realized that my wallet was stolen. But the next day, they started going on a shopping spree and stealing from the carts, and charging them at different um, malls and stores and gas stations. When I saw that my bank statement was showing that fraud, I ran down to the closest bank that was still open. It was late in the afternoon, and the one of the clerks refused to help me because not only there was a huge line and it was closing time, but I also happened to have my one of my parents' cards also in my wallet because my parents are they don't speak very good English and they always rely on me and I take care of them and they want me to shop and buy things so they don't like carrying plastic around, so it's been like that since I was a child. It's always in my wallet and I buy everything, supply the house and our need. And so so I was trying to explain to the bank teller that I need to just freeze all the accounts for the night so that I can go in the morning to my regular branch that is open. It was already closed at that time, so but I'll go in the morning and then we will, take care of everything. Then my parents can come with me and take care of their accounts, and I will take care of mine. But for now, I just need him to freeze them all and stop these thieves from continuing the stealing. What happened is my parents were not with me at the point because I ran down there. I was not going straight for my house. So one of them he refused, but the other one he took pity on me. And even though he was not going by the book, he he comforted me and then he explained to me the policies and he froze my account and then he promised me that he will wait. He cannot do without presence of my at least one of my parents, but if I could go get my mother and bring her down to the bank branch, he will wait for us even though he's going to go into overtime and it's after the closing time. He said, just go, drive safely, come back, bring her, and we'll do that. So I rushed back home. It was really stressful. I came down to the branch with my mother, and he took care of everything really quickly and painlessly. But what happened is I had such amazing. It was miracle, really. I have not recognized this man. What happened is I only met him once back in almost about a year ago. I just met him once at my friend's apartment, which is the friends that I mentioned many videos before that. This For this video in the beginning when I started making my videos, it was um, young man that I used to call, and I still call him that, basically solar plexus, solar chakra guy. He started the whole basically balancing of my chakras. He was my solar chakra guy. That's what I call him. He was just someone that kind of activated my my balancing process, the chakra balancing process. My soulmate. He's my soulmate. I have just spoken with him tonight about the sacral chakra guy, which is amazing how things fall in place, how you can talk to one person about the other and they can give you great advice. And it's amazing because we're still friends and we've always been friends since we met. So the soulmate and his mother, who is also my soulmate, these two people are amazing. They had roommate at that time, and this man walked in the room and he greeted us, all three of us, and they introduced me to him. It was just brief, and he just went to his room, and so I didn't recognize him. But in the meantime, I became friends with um, with my friend's friend, who happened to start relationship with him, which I have never seen him after that. I never ran into him. He moved out from their place. He was no longer their roommate, so I've never had a chance to see him again. But I heard references about him, and I knew his name, and that my friend's friend was now dating him, and that he moved in with her. She happened to be also my friend and mine hairdresser. So the moment when I was listen to this carefully, the moment when I was at the bank and I was thanking him for saving basically literally my life that night. So before the banks closed, that the checking accounts and debit cards and credit cards were frozen, so they cannot get into there anymore. Already done enough damage. Just as I was thanking him and I was gonna turn around, a woman, someone actually came on my back and patted me on my back. I turned around. It's my hairdresser, my friend's friend, and she smiles and she says, "How are you doing?" And she's greeting me and my mother. And I said, "You will not believe this wonderful banker, this guy. He just what he's done for me. He's amazing." She smiled and she says, "Yeah, I know. He's my boyfriend." And then I still being in a state of shock from the stress and everything, still not recognizing him because I only saw him once briefly. I'm still not getting it. Like, well, okay, so then she says to him, "Well, you know who this is? This is, Diane's best friend." And he turns to me and he says, "Well, I am Diane's ex roommate. Remember?" And I said, "Oh my God, I did not recognize you. You just saved me. Um, and you've done so much for me right now. Why didn't you say something?" And he said, "Well, I wasn't sure it was you. I thought it was you, but then the name sounded different because it's spelled differently." And I said, "Well, that's European spelling. It turns out, uh, what was most humbling for me at the moment I was going home from the bank, I had a flashback the night when he walked into my friend's apartment when he was heading down to his room. He said hello to us, and he wanted to shake my hand. And being at the time very strict Muslim and very following the rules that are not actually rules in the Quran, but are sort of like religious rules that are good to follow. They don't have to be followed, but like uh, suggested to be followed. And I still think that they make sense a lot of times. And as I said, I used to be more strict. So I decided many years ago when I started practicing Islam that it's better not to shake hands with men. It just keeps you out of trouble of misunderstanding, sending wrong signals from the man and vice versa. Sometimes men are married and they have jealous spouses, and he sometimes you shake hand with someone and it's perfectly normal, but at other times in awkward, you know, they, they prolong how much they hold your hand, or they may give you a certain signal of attraction or something. And so I kind of avoided that since ever I read that it was better not to shake men with the opposite gender. So I was very strict at the time, and I refused to shake his hand. I did it politely, but still, he seemed he was confused. Like, what have I haven't done anything wrong. I don't have any germs. That's what his facial expression was. I felt like perhaps didn't understand that it was just my religion. It was nothing personal against him. And then he was shy and he went to his room. Maybe he would have stayed and talked to us. I don't know. And why is this important? Why is this so humbling for me, the experience? Because the moment I've changed a lot over the past year. I'm, I'm on my personal level, I'm not just more flexible with myself. Not just It's not just other people, but I'm more flexible with myself. I understand myself better, and I understand that only God, only Source and Creator of the universe is perfect mind and perfect, state of being, and all of us are here to learn from our mistakes, and we cannot be ever perfect. But we can try our best to follow certain guidance that keeps us in check, keeps us out of trouble. But at the same time, not to be too strict and not too harsh on ourselves, and not too hard on ourselves, not too hard on others, not too judgmental of ourselves and others. So I've changed. And now, as this man helped me, and before I realized who he was, and before his girlfriend approached she came to pick him up because it was the end of his shift and they have only one car. So basically, she came to pick him up. I had no idea he worked there. I didn't know that. I went to her salon many times. She never mentioned where he worked. She mentioned him, talked about him a lot, but she never said where he worked. So before she showed up and before I realized who he was, I I shook his hand and I told him, "Thank you so much. You have a sister in me now. If you ever need anything, I will take your business card. I wanna thank you personally soon with the gift, appropriate gift or something, and send an email to your boss how helpful you were." And I was really emotional at that moment, and I actually felt he really saved me. I was never scared this much from the day I came to this country, because losing your wallet, losing your, it's not only about money, but losing your ID cards, and someone could mess with your identity. It's really scary, thing. And so I was really upset, and he calmed me down. It's not just that he helped me with my cards, but he was really, the look in his eyes was comforting. He was like a brother to me at the moment. It's a complete stranger, which turns out he was not a complete stranger, but he, to me, he was. So I said, "Thank you. You have a sister in me. If you ever need anything, you have my name and everything in this computer. I would really be there for you. Thank you." And I shook his hand. And not only that, then it was just bigger than me. I kissed his hand like you would do to an old sage or your grandfather or a brother that you respect, and he didn't look weird or anything. He saw that it was coming from my heart, and he was, it was all the whole thing was very heartfelt. There was some customers who let me go through, and because they saw me, I was actually crying. I usually don't cry in public. It is really hard something to see that I cry, but I just broke down in tears because I was so scared. And people let me in. People were so nice. Everybody saw that, and I kissed the top of his hand. So now on my way back home, when the storm was over and I was going back home, and I could not believe how this world is so small, and I ran into a man who is my best friend's roommate just a year ago, and I met him. I didn't recognize him. That I once refused to shake his hand, and now the circumstances changed. And I was humbled by this experience that we cannot be above others. Nobody can be above anyone. There's times for following the guidance of the scripture, following the guidance of your religious rules, because it's good for you and it keeps you out of trouble. But there are times when you have to follow your heart and trust people. And I now see that sometimes I have to use my own judgment, because God gave me my judgment and my emotional judgment and my mental judgment, intellectual judgment to decide. Maybe sometimes if you see that you're gonna offend someone and they're just friendly and they're your friends, it's not a huge deal if you break a few rules and shake their hand or something, because to me it was eye opener, right? So that's the first thing that I wanted to share. And then interesting thing, besides the amount of money that I lost in this fraud, that matched exactly the amount of money that I was supposed to invest in a product that the charity woman, who is a charity lady, was introduced me to, uh, was the thing that the night when we were at her house and the presentation was going on, I made a certain joke. I asked the presenter something, and then I made a joke. I asked a question, and I like to joke, and it was funny. And then she said, which was not really relevant to what I said. She said, well, about me. She said to the presenter, she said, she's, see, I told you about her. She's so, she said, nice things. And then she said, she has no ego. And I never heard anyone say that. For God's sakes, I have such a strong ego. I had strong ego for years, and I'm working on, as I said before, push it away, and we have to keep our egos in check. So I've been working so hard on next, like on the last 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, to put that ego in check and not let it rule my life. And now this woman that I love so much, and she has done so much for so many people, she says, um, I don't have, it's like a confirmation from, it's like she was channeling something, a voice from heaven, a message for me. She said she has no ego. Nobody ever said, a lot of people accuse me of ever, actually in the past, because I did have huge ego. And she said she has no ego. And I realized, wow, it's coming through her, this angel on earth helps so many people, that God is like with her in charge of helping others, said that. That's wonderful. That means I have been working so hard. And the next day, when I lost these cards and my ID and everything, after I calmed down and after I came home and I realized everything's fine, everything's gonna be fine. It's just like it was a test. It was a tough day and tough test. I also realized that losing. I went next day to DMV and got my new driver's license, took a new picture. I realized in some way I shed my old identity, my old ego, my old driver's license was gone, my cards are gone. I have to replace everything. Maybe it was universe telling me that I have changed. I am at one level, um, on a different level now, different person in a good way, not in a bad way, but just like what I was, what I've been working on for these past years have finally has shown real results, and other people can see too. So that's another thing, and so it's good. And then one other thing is I want to share with you is that sacral chakra guy who channels my twin. Uh, this may sound like a shock to you, and it's not like it didn't happen in like a typical way that it happens, but he has popped the question to me. It was more at the moment of his emotions running high, and he was kind of in a state of, well, in a state of happiness and state of spirit at the same time. I cannot go into details, but he actually hugged me, and I did not have eye contact with him at that moment. He was not on his knees, definitely. He was not. Maybe he was channeling my twin as well, and he popped a question. He said, "We should get married." And now it's gonna sound crazy, but I pretended that I did not hear that, because the moment, if you were there, you would know that I did not want to ignore him. It was just I was in a state of shock that he said that. It was so sudden, and then I didn't have eye contact with him. So the next moment, I pulled away, and sort of I saw that he also got scared and kind of changed the subject. It was like I pretended I didn't hear, and he pretended he didn't say it, but he did say it. And then he had another one of those, when, as I said, dynamics exactly same like with the twin flame, push and pull, pushing away moments, as if, like, those movies when someone has fell in love with some animal that they saved from the wild, and then they have to release it back in the wild. Like, they saved it, they took care of it, they nursed it back to health, and then they have to send it back into their natural environment. And so to do that, they have to push them away hard and say, "Go away," take them back to the woods, and just run away and leave them there. So it didn't actually leave me anywhere. It didn't do that, but I'm just comparing that metaphorically, because um, after that happened, the conversation has took a different turn, and then he was saying, why wouldn't I could choose someone else out there. There's some men interested. Why don't I accept some marriage offers? Why don't I just kind of, because he was getting emotionally upset that we are not, he's not ready for marriage. I'm not married for marry him. So why don't I just kind of, help both of us and go get married and kind of get um, out of his karma and out of his sight. And that was really upsetting for me because although I don't let my ego come in between us, when someone, when they're doing that because they're scared too, and the emotions are running wild, and they're trying to push you away, and and they want to make you angry so that you kind of let go of them and help them stay, go back to where they were before these emotions. Um, the thing is, I I just kind of, I still got upset because it hurts when someone, no matter what, it still hurts when someone is, that's not what they feel, but that's what they say. So the words can hurt, right? So I didn't want to make any discussions. I just decided to go home. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. He must have been hurt because I pretended I didn't hear him what he said first, which was, we should, I quote him, that we should get married. And then he turned that whole story into I should get married with whoever, anyone, just to be, to release our connection. And so I went home and I decided maybe it's time to really, really, really stay away from him. And then they at the mosque, and I will finish with this story. This is true story again. Today at the mosque, I met a friend of mine, a recent convert, a wonderful girl. She pulled me to the side and she asked me if she could talk to me. And then she tells me identical story that's happening to her, almost identical to what's happening to me right now. And I almost felt God's presence that He's trying to tell me, you're not the only one who's going through this. And by advising her and telling her what she should do, how patient she should be, because sometimes people are set in their ways, and they have different, even though we are from same religion, we have different backgrounds. And this relates both to my twin flame and the man who channels my twin flame. Okay, so I was giving her advice, and by giving her the advice, it helped me. At the same time, I shared with her, and I said to her that I'm going through something very similar and almost identical. And then she kind of gave me advice that helped her. And then we decided to go for lunch out of the mosque on our way home to go to lunch. And I decided to take her to the place that has been, from the country that I'm from, most famous restaurant in this town, this city. And it's been there for years. It was opened by my friend that has, we lost touch after I became more religious, and they're not religious people. So I haven't been to that restaurant, but I decided to treat her with some national dish from my country. So I invited her. So we drive down there, and when we arrived down there, I mentioned before in the previous few videos ago that my twin flame is from Pakistan. I'm from Southern Europe. My twin flame channeler, or the sacral chakra guy, he is from Afghanistan. And my twin flame's mother is from Afghanistan, so they have a lot in common, same tribe. And so, anyways, so we drive down that main street and we come to the restaurant that I was supposed to show her, the Southern European restaurant with the Southern European dishes. And then the name on the place has changed from the name of my country to the name of Afghanistan, which is the country of my twin flame channeler, the one who questioned. So that was the confirmation, and I prayed the night before for the guidance. Should I stay in touch with him, or cut these strings off? And this was the first sign. Okay. So then I got some food, uh, to take home, and we ate their food. It was amazing. And I came home, and as I was taking food out of the seat, I mean, out of the seat, from the front seat, I noticed my twin flame channeler he lost his credit card. Must have fell out of his pocket into between my car seat. So I have to contact him again. I have to let him know that his card is here, and I'm waiting for the morning. So it's not it's not coincidence that I have to make contact again, because this is what it we have to go with the flow. And when we ask the source for guidance, when we receive it, and we have to believe those are signs from higher power. And then I decided tonight just to open the Holy Quran for you, just randomly open it. It says here that it's chapter called Gradual Process, which is chapter 6 of the Quran. It's translated here as Gradual Progress, which reminds me of the whole twin flame journey. And it opened at the verse 104 until verse 107. It says, clear proofs have indeed come to you from your Lord. So whoever sees, it is for the good of his own soul, and whoever is blind, it is to its harm. I'm not a keeper over you. And thus do we repeat the messages, and that they may say, you have studied, and that they may make it clear to a people who know. Follow what is revealed to you from your Lord. There's no God but He. So that's a message for this Friday, for this weekend. Follow your heart. Don't be harsh on yourself. Don't be too hard on people. Try to push your ego down as much as possible. It's really, really hard sometimes when people are hurting us with their ego, but we have to, just believe that if we are in the process of killing our ego, and then we do, and then we have to deal with someone who thinks that they don't know that we worked so hard not to have ego. They think we're just weak, and that we letting them push us around. Or they think that we are their doormats, not by choice, but that's how we are, because they haven't met us before when we had strong egos and pride and all that. So they don't know we choose to be that way. So when we come to that challenge, we want to stay on our path of following our heart. We don't want to follow our ego. We feel like they think they can push us around. That's the most challenging moment, when you have to say to yourself, well, if I have no ego, if I try not to have an ego, then I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I don't care what they think. I know I care what they feel, and I care what I feel, but I don't care about the opinion they based on something that lacks certain knowledge about our journey. Only source knows exactly what we've been through and how we got there. So whatever they think may be our weakness, we know it's our strength, and we have to stay in our own truth. And we don't have to prove anything to anyone, because by proving to them, we are like destroying all of our work, and then pushing our ego back inside of us, and pushing it out and reflecting on them. And okay, so I show you now, I can be tough too, and I can be proud, and I can. No, we have worked so hard on unconditional love and practicing unconditional love. We don't have to prove our ego to anyone. We have worked so hard to move away from our ego, so when we are challenged, there's nothing we have to prove to anyone. We just have to love everyone, and our love is gonna win over them much more than our ego could ever do. So I love you guys. Peace be upon you. Thank you. And this time I cut it off. It's about time. Love you guys. Please like, subscribe. Thank you.